It's time for the Freedom in 5 Minutes podcast. Powerful and liberating business strategies you can start in 5 minutes or less. Now, here's your host, Dean Soto.
Hey, this is Dean Soto, founder of freedomin5minutes.com and prosulam.com. And we're here again with another Freedom in 5 Minutes podcast episode. Today's topic is this. Everything is trying to destroy your business 24 hours a day. That and more coming up. Whoa, what a scary title, yeah? It's a very scary title. Oh, you hear my turkeys over there? They're my biggest critics. What do you guys think? Is it good? Yeah, okay, see? They don't like it. But it's all good. Scary title, but it's well worth it. I am here with the Luna Meister. Luna's over here. I actually have 2 new dogs, by the way. I have the great Des, a big black German Shepherd. Des boy. And then I got a Troy boy. Troy looks in a normal looking German Shepherd. And they both killed a couple chickens, stuff like that. But they're still really good dogs. They've been getting squirrels for me, which is good. Good job on those squirrels, boys. Good job. But what I was gonna say was, Des and Troy. You put them together and you have Destroy. So those are my 2 new dogs. So we have Destroy, Des and Troy, and I have the Luna Meister, of course, always here. So what's up with the title today? What is up with this title? Very interesting title, right? Very scary, and it's very true. It's true. So I had an individual who was a former client. Super nice guy, wonderful, really super nice guy. Have nothing bad to say about him at all. Wonderful person. But a while back, they stopped using, he and his team stopped using one of the VSAs. And, I had been on the phone with him for quite some time. Also Paul Tran, who also works with me, he was on the phone with him for quite some time, really trying to help him get the systems mindset going, right? Creating systems, creating processes so that your business runs on its own, that you're not the bottleneck anymore, right? And so we were doing so much with with this guy, and it just wasn't really landing, And don't get me wrong, he wanted to learn, but for whatever reason, it just wasn't landing. And so he's like, hey, I don't want to move. We're going to move in a different direction. I actually have some executive assistants that we're working with, and they're in-house. They're here, and it's great, and yada yada. And I'm like, all right, yeah, no worries, man. That's part of the whole ProSulam thing, right? Is flexibility. You can stop and go, stop, start. And it's fine, totally fine. It's part of the whole thing. But I kept on stressing, make sure you're doing your systems. Make sure you're getting things documented. Make sure that you're documenting all of your processes step by step. And doing that is going to be the most beneficial thing for you, right? Well, months later, which ended up being like 2 or 3 days ago, I got an email from him. And so I got an email from him, and the email basically read like this: hey, I have this great idea, and I want to run it past you. We were working with we were working with these executive assistants. They're in-house, and we're just relishing working with them. And I'm like, okay, so what's the problem? So that's the term that he used. We're relishing the time. But I had one executive assistant leave, and it basically crippled my business. All of the stuff was in her head. She left, and now I'm screwed. And I'm like, so why are you relishing working with them? Because that's pretty much sucks. That's horrible. Like, I have not responded yet, and I will. But at least at this point in time, I'm like, dude, do you hear what you're saying? You have someone who essentially took down your entire business simply from them leaving. Like, that is the whole reason that Prosulum and Freedom in 5 Minutes exists in the first place. Why we have those virtual systems architects documenting everything so that you never run into this situation. So anyway, long story short, he wanted to know if there was training that he can take to basically do what we do with the VSAs, right? And so it's like, hey, tell me all your secrets, I'll pay you for it, and that yada yada. And of course, I'm going to say no. But the whole thing is that, look, this person that you have in-house, working physically in your office, which having an office just in general as your main thing, hello, COVID-19 and other things like that, where you can basically be totally shut down, right? What a disaster waiting to happen, right? Then on top of that, you have them in person, probably 1099. Now you're dealing with, then the employment, what are those called, EDD, the whole the government. Now they're probably going to be looking at you going, hey, why are these 1099 when they should be W-2? Yeah. And now you're going to get fined for that. And now you're running into that. And then you're going to have to do workman's comp insurance. And then you're going to have to do payroll tax. And then you're going to have to do all these different things. And you're basically paying, 5, 6, 7 times more for that person to have all of that risk when you could have just had a VSA, right? You could have had a virtual system architect who would not put you in that situation. But anyway, I digress. So anyway, his email essentially was, hey, I love working with these executive assistants, but I'm screwed, right? I have no way of retraining someone because all of this stuff was in her head, right? And it really spoke to me because this is exactly what I've been preaching for and what I've actually been building this for like 30 years, right? Is to help you to think in systems. It's the whole purpose of this podcast. Start thinking in systems and processes, getting things documented and so on and so forth, right? The more that you do that now, the more that you get that already, the more you are going to be, the more that you're going to be ready for disaster, right? And disaster comes in many, many, many forms, right? But when you have all of your stuff documented, it's huge, right? So why is this important? It's important because there are so many things out there right now that are so many people trying to take your business down, trying to take what you've worked hard what you've worked hard for, right? You have the federal government, you have state and local governments wanting their cut. You have the employees, right? That executive assistant. What if that executive assistant said, "Hey, your business runs on me. Give me a raise or I'm leaving." And maybe that's what happened. Who knows, right? Give me a raise or I'm leaving. Blackmail. Or maybe it could have been something, what if they just did what they did and left? That's huge, right? That is a huge disaster waiting to happen. And so it is so vitally important that you start thinking in systems. As soon as you are in a position where either an employee has all of the stuff in their head or you have all of this stuff in your head, that is where you are putting yourself at such a huge risk. And it might have been a great year, it might have been a wonderful year, but one little change, bam, and everything is gone, or at least those wins and those gains are gone. And so you have to see this as a battlefield. You have to see this as a war. There are people intentionally or unintentionally trying to take what you have. One of the best ways to hedge against that is through creating documented systems and processes, right? So if the federal government does come, and this does happen, IRS comes, looks at what you're doing, and one of the people that I look up to, a guy named Aaron, he runs Laughlin and Associates. He was in jail because the IRS came not for him, but came because of some of the people that he was working with, other companies, asked a few questions, and then basically made him out to be a co-conspirator, popped him in jail. What happened while he was in jail? What happened to his business? Well, he had everything documented, had all of these systems documented, and things went on without him. In fact, when he tells the story, it grew without him. That's the power of having documented systems and processes. But you know what's more important than having those documented systems and processes is having the mindset that is necessary. There is nothing more necessary than having those. It's when somebody just wants it done. Give me some documented processes, and then let's move and let's keep going. No, when your mindset is based around having, I need to document this thing always. We recently had a change in our business, and guess what was the first thing I said to my guys? Document it. Make sure that change is documented. Okay, because that is what is going to save you. So who cares if you went and wrote everything down step by step, and it's a year later it's old. Constant process updating and improvement is huge. Okay. So what are you going to do today? What are you going to do this week? What are you going to document this week? What book are you going to read to get your mind around systems? There's Clockwork. There is Work the System. There is Build to Sell. There's a whole host of different things out there that'll give you that aha moment so that you can put this into practice and make this into a habit that you always do. All right, this is Dean Soto, freedomin5minutes.com. Go check that out. Go check out prosulum.com as well. And I will see you in the next Freedom in 5 Minutes podcast episode.
Thanks for listening to the Freedom in 5 Minutes podcast. Now, head over to www.freedomin5minutes.com and register for our free masterclass and discover how to start systemizing and automating your entire business 5 minutes at a time. We'll see you next time on the Freedom in 5 Minutes podcast.